Good afternoon. My name is Brennan Hull, and my partner's name is Jermaine Potts. And today I will be discussing to you how race and gender plays a role in Scandal, and my partner will be discussing how it plays a role in Sally Hemings with her relationship with Thomas Jefferson. Now, for our criteria, we analyzed each scene according to the way that femininity, masculinity was constructed, and also observed how patriarchy was encouraged or transformed by the scene. Each particular selection constructs its own unique ideas of what it means to be a man or a woman, and how the relationships between a white man and a power, how the relationship between a white man of power and a black woman will unfold. For my half of the project, I chose season 3, episode 1 of Scandal. In this episode, Olivia and Fitch are accused of having an affair that leads to a lot of slandering being involved for Olivia, and the president not having much to actually, he doesn't really have much to do. But this is a great example of how race and gender can affect a romantic relationship between a white man of power and a black woman. Okay, now in regards to analysis of gender, Olivia's father calls her derogatory names such as mistress or whore based on the fact that she slept with a married man, more so him being the president. Now, this is where I believe the double standard for males and females come into play, because if a male is married and he sleeps with another woman, he's not really going to be slandered as, oh well, he's a whore, he sleeps with multiple women. Sometimes his friends may praise him for that. Now, in regards to Olivia's case or any other female, if they sleep with a man that's married, then they are considered, cheaters or whores because of what they did. Now, this, I believe, is unfair. I believe if a male does the same thing, then he should also be considered a whore because he's cheating, more so because he's the one that's married and not the female that he's cheating with. Now, I believe dominance was executed through the press because they, not at one point did they try to, slander the president, but instead they tried to slander Olivia for her involvement with the president by calling her a whore and his mistress. Now, I believe dominance is constructed by the White House to help, because they tried to provide protection for Fitz, to help him clean his slate of this whole situation and try to put the blame on Olivia. Now, Olivia had no power. I believe she had no power because she was stuck on her own. Her father wouldn't help her, and she just had to, do this on her own because she had nobody to protect her. Now, when it comes to the transformation of patriarchy, I believe it changed tremendously because Olivia did she did the opposite of what she was told to do. She stayed despite being told by her father that she wasn't good enough to overcome this issue, and I believe her staying really showed that she has the courage and the ability and the strength to, overcome the naysayers. And I believe that is exactly what she did. She overcame the difficulty of the whole situation, and she was able to, at the end of the day, she was able to stand at the top instead of being at the bottom and being a victim. She was able to stand at the top as being victorious because she was able to overcome the whole situation. Now, to sum everything that I basically have just explained to you, the gender of the president made his role a lot more easier for him because he didn't really have to do much besides, just be there. One, because since he was a male and he was the president, he really had an easy job. He just had to, listen to what I guess his staff would tell him and just say what they would tell him to say. Now, for Olivia, it was her being that she was a female. it made her job harder because she was being slandered by the press, by her father, but she didn't leave. And although she had a tough time, she stayed, and she basically manned up. I want to say, yeah, like she manned up and she took on the whole situation and she overcame it.
Hello, my name is Jermaine Potts, and as my partner said earlier, I will be discussing the Sally Hemings half of this presentation, and I will also be analyzing it according to the same criteria. The scene that we selected from the novel is one that occurred when Sally finally arrived in France in order to work for Thomas Jefferson as a servant to one of his daughters. It is here that their relationship turns sexual in nature, as one evening he bids to have Sally sent to his room where they do have sex. As you begin to kind of think according to feminist criticism, you can see this white male master enacting his power over a black female slave. You can begin to analyze that white male dominance over that black female submissive. Here, gender is constructed in a way that encourages male dominance and female submission. Thomas Jefferson started off as a father figure that protected and provided for Sally Hemings, yet somehow that turned sexual. It is almost as though a man is supposed to protect, provide, and have sex with a woman of his choosing, while the woman, in this case was a slave, worked for him and did as he bid. This encourages the present ideology and the stereotypes that we have that women are submissive to men, while men are in fact dominant. And because the story or the novel encourages and supports the relationship by claiming that they are in love, it makes this okay. It almost encourages and instills the idea that relationships can occur in this type of manner and can be healthy in this type of manner. If a woman is submissive and a male is dominant, love can still form. Here, power is exercised through the way that they communicate in their exchanges, or the way that they really spent time with one another while they were in the room alone about to have sex. When they first encountered one another alone in the room, they didn't really exchange many words, but Sally Hemings walked up to Thomas Jefferson and kissed him on the hand. Now, kissing of the hand, or like a kissing of a ring on a king's finger, is a sign of submission. It is a sign of bowing down too, which just encourages this idea that he has a power over her. Also, the way that he was able to beckon to her and have her delivered to his room is just another exercise of his power. Now, because the two show affection and fondness towards one another, it kind of dilutes the image that he has power over her, because it's being utilized in a way that, I guess, in a sense, benefits their relationship. He gets to be alone with her. He gets to keep her out of the fields, etc. But it is a power that is exercised nonetheless. Now, the relationship between Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings transforms the stereotypical ideas regarding patriarchy, because this patriarchal power that rests with this white man of power is used in a way that benefits this black female slave. He keeps her out of the fields. He keeps her working in the house. He allows her to learn to read, to write, etc. He allows her life to be better than that of your typical slaves of that day and age. So when you exercise your power that comes from him being white in this time period and becomes from him being a man in this time period, when you exercise that in a way that benefits your partner who comes from the opposite end of the spectrum, you begin to transform the ideas, because you are utilizing that power in a way that has never been used before. Because we are so used to seeing men that dominate their submissive wives in ways that don't necessarily contribute to the well-being of their relationship. And he does it in a different way because it benefits Sally Hemings to be in this relationship. It is an interesting concept to understand because it begins to transform the typical ideologies that we have concluded regarding patriarchy. The way in which gender is constructed in this scene allows for a new understanding of what it truly means to be a woman and what it means to be a male. Now, because they are very, very similar to the stereotypes that we view today, it's easy to get them confused. Because, Sally is literally a slave to this white male of power, but the way that he executes his power still allows room for love. So the way that gender is constructed here, it supports these claims that a woman should be submissive and a male should be dominant, but it can happen and occur in a harmonious way. It does not have to be a woman rebelling against a man or a man abusing his power that we so easily associate with the relationships that occur in this day and age. When, however, it is possible for those relationships to occur with a male dominant and a female submissive in a way that is acceptable for both parties. And in this particular situation, it encourages this type of behavior. It encourages this way for understanding gender roles. So when you begin to look at the question of whether or not a white man of power can effectively be in a relationship with a black woman, you can draw from scenes like these to really grasp an understanding of the two polar opposite ends of the spectrum in regards to what these relationships can look like. So in one case with Olivia and President Fitz in Scandal, the power that President Fitz has is used in a way that demeans Olivia. When their scandal is revealed to the world, there are headlines, there are press, and even her own father attempts to get her to flee the situation. While on the other hand, Thomas Jefferson utilizes his power in a way that encourages them to stay together, that allows her to remain in the house, to remain by his side, to come to his room at night, and things like that. While the power that Fitz has pushes Olivia away, the power that Thomas Jefferson has brings Sally closer. So it is our conclusion that a relationship between a white man of power and a black woman can occur and can be successful as long as that power that white man holds works in favor of the black woman. As long as these two are on the same side, fighting the same battle and not against each other, the relationship can take place.